Well, good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to be back. George Morgan here at your service. It's PSGL, it's Wednesday night, it's Spain tonight as well. Lots on the table, lots of battling. The title contest is still alive and kicking. And Jack, it's only taken us 10 rounds. We're on the 11th. It's all to play for.
Boromant goes on the inside and takes the lead on the final lap of the race. Now it's side by side between Boromant and Warner, but Boromant's got the inside.
A guest star here in this phenomenal race. Cameron Dowd looking to take P2 in his very first PSGL F1 PC race. Incredible to say the least. You see that Putin still lead. 1.5 seconds. DRS is the
Takes the lead on the final lap of the race.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back and welcome to PSGL Season 36. And welcome to Round 4 here on PC. It's good to be back. It's good to be back in the hot seat. And we are going to Austria tonight. We are joined by the one and only Richie, aka Nathan Richards. How are you doing, my friend? Good to have you.
Hello, Sappy. Hello, everyone in the chat. I am very excited. We're off to Austria, which is a brilliant circuit for qualifying, for racing, for everything that it gets thrown at it. It is a beautiful circuit. So I think this race will be rather a good one. And the championship itself is also going to be quite good, as we can see. If you can see the standings on the board, we can have a quick look at them as well while we're waiting to get in. And obviously, Mirko Soriano still leads the standings, even though he wasn't here last time out in Monaco. He's, of course, on 26 points. Second place, Tiger Hardy on 22, just 4 points, separating the top two. And then only another 3 points back to Lenny Pipinta on 19 in third, followed by his teammate Reese Linton in fourth on 16. Then Jan Herde and Kian Godendorp both on 14 points in P5 and P6, followed by three drivers on 12 points being Nico, Camille and Dylan Warren. They're sitting 7th, 8th and 9th, and Bradley Holdham rounding out the top 10 on 10 points. Then Julian Klaffenbach and Joost Noorijk in 11th and 12th on 8 and 6 points. Sergio Sprino in 13th on 6, followed by Richard Jacobs on 5 and 14th. Liam Stevens in 15th on 5. Daniel Koya also on 5 points in 16th. Then we have Lillian and Andres in 17th and 18th on 4 points, followed by Louis Welch on 2 points in 19th. And Leo Lund still yet to score a point for the Red Bull team. A lot of that being down to penalties for the Red Bull driver. So far, Alpine are looking very strong at the top. Obviously, Ferrari as well, first and 8th, they're looking quite decent. But a team that definitely needs to find some form of course, Abby, is the Red Bull team.
Yeah, the Red Bulls are looking like they're in a little bit of a struggle bus right now because we had some DNFs. And Monaco, the last time out, was a bit of an eventful race. I'm looking at some of the stewards' findings here. We're seeing a few license points being handed out. So Sabrino's got 3 extra points on his license for causing a collision. You got Rishan getting an extra 3 license points, 2 for causing a collision, and 1 for just quote poor off-track conduct. I'm not going to opine too much on that one. And then you have 2 points for Klaffenbach for dangerous driving. So that did affect the standings, and that has resulted in the points that we see here. But the strong performance, I think the thing that stands out to me is that Soriano had such a strong opener that even when he takes a drop round, he's still on top.
Yeah, he did, and I think that's something good for him because he knows he's still got that, he's still got that leverage over those second down, which means obviously he is here tonight. Of course, with lots of Tycho, Lenny, and all those down. Only 2 drivers not making it, being Jan and I believe one of the Sobers aren't going to be here. So obviously they got Daniel Kjelsen and Joe Van Bussel in their place. But as I was saying, Mirko Soriano got a bit of a leverage now to all those down below, so he can kind of, I wouldn't say chill at all. I think he's still got pressure, but he knows that if if he has to take a drop round again in the future to do all the things, it's not going to be like he's going to drop down 10 positions. He knows he can still keep something and still keep himself ahead a little bit. As hopefully we can get underway soon. And talking about the previous race results, we've had 3 different race winners in the first three rounds, being Reese Linton in race 1, Mirko Soriano in race 2, and Lenny Pipinta winning out last time in Monaco, which was a very good performance from him indeed. And penalties all around, drop people positions. And of course, that was obviously Lenny took it in the end. And obviously, we've had also 8 different podium sitters here this season so far, and only one person having 2 podiums, being Mirko Soriano. So far, this championship it's quite close.
Yeah, it's still very much in the air, and this is kind of what I love about this season so far. The grid is so stacked, the grid is so tight, to the point where we can look at any different race and it can be a completely different outcome. Different drivers can be on top, big winners from previous rounds can be dropping down the order. Like Monaco was a big shake-up in terms of some of the drivers that we were expecting near the sharp end of the field. They seem to be struggling in a little bit of their own bubble. We saw a lot of retirement, and we saw a lot of drivers potentially struggle. But as for tonight, it's a return to, I guess for some, a sense of normality, because it is Austria. It is a fairly simple circuit on paper, 10 corners, 4.3 kilometers, 3 DRS zones, and a lot of speed. Now, you have two important questions with this track. One, how do we think about it? And two, is turn 2 considered a corner? It's an age-old debate as old as time itself.
I don't class it as a corner at all. It's a little bit of a kick to the left. I don't think it should be classed as a corner, but still, I still call that big hairpin turn 3. So here we are. They've still got it convincing to our minds. But DRS was obviously we have a zone down towards turn 3, a zone down towards turn 4, of course, a little bit of a zone down towards turn 1, which makes racing quite interesting around this 4.3 kilometer circuit. We do 36 laps here, of course. In PSGL, we do 50% of the main race distance, which is around 153 kilometers long, is this race. So it's a decent track. You can get quite a few laps around it, and that also makes the likes of pit stops also more, I suppose, crucial, because there's many more laps you can pit, and there's still normally one lap which is the best one to pit. So you got more options, meaning it's easier to make a mistake in that pit stop phase and either pit too early or pit too late. But hopefully we can head our way through in towards this race soon. And talking about that last season we was here, obviously in Austria, and it was Josef Loka, our very own Formula 3 driver, who took victory ahead of Szymon Lekomski and Kian Godendorp in that race. Obviously Kian is back here tonight, so we'll see what Kian can do, along with Szymon, of course. So we'll see what Kian and Szymon can do. Obviously both in the Williams car. Could be quite an interesting race here tonight, but we're still waiting for, I believe, 3 more drivers to get in, or at least it says that on my screen, and then we should be able to get underway in towards the session, just waiting for a Sabre, an Aston Martin and an AlphaTauri, and then we can kick off the Austrian qualifying and the Austrian Grand Prix. And Sappy, we know at Austria, the weather, it doesn't always like to be dry here, does it?
Yeah, the weather can be a big wild card in this track, because it's simple on paper. And I know that we introduced it as being one of the simpler ones on the calendar. 10 corners, fairly middling distance, but it is still quite vertical. I'd say you have a lot of sort of altitude change. You go uphill towards turn 3, you can lean a bit more on the brakes because you are uphill. Then you sort of see that traction fade away a bit. It's why we see so many cars wash wide on turns 4 and 5. It is still a challenge to absolutely nail the course. And weather, the rain, completely changes up that dynamic with your grip, how far you can push the car. And before we jump into qualifying all good and proper, because we have just got the green light into the session, we've got the calendar on screen. Let us know in the chat, if not Austria, what round you are looking forward to in the rest of this season, because we are coming up to the halfway mark already. And of course we have all of our great partners. Do be sure to check out the likes of Sim Racing Centre and GT Omega. Use code PSGL for a healthy discount, and yeah, support the people who support us, basically. That's the gist of it. But who have you got your eye on, Nathan? That's the real question. In this session coming up.
It's hard, isn't it? Because there's so many people that are at the top of the game at the moment. But I'm looking at the likes of Reese Leeton, obviously took victory earlier on. Nico Benz, who's back here again tonight. I'm going to see what he can do in the qualifying stage. And it's very overcast here, as we can see the qualifying on our screens right now. And I'm just trying to figure out why we're missing 2 drivers and why they're not here. So I'm not sure if there's an issue for one of them, possibly, hence why they aren't racing. And, why they're not here at the moment, indeed. I know a couple of people mentioned that someone was sleeping, hence why someone wasn't here. I'm not quite sure at all.
Well,
I'm looking for the chat, and I'm very confused.
That would certainly be a choice if they are deciding that it is a time to go EP instead of time to go racing. I would have some choice words, but for now, we just say this. We are going to jump trackside. It is going to be looking a little bit overcast. And as we jump into things good and proper, we can see drivers are very anxious. They're getting out as soon as they can. Nordyke leading the queue.
Of course, as they all head, of course, up towards turn 3 and looking there, one of the AlphaTauris, I believe that might be Lillian. Yes, it is Lillian, looking to try and get a bit of a move on at the start of qualifying, and that makes me think, if people are rushing this hard, is the track going to get any worse? As the session goes on, will it say dry, Sep? I know you have your telemetry normally on your screen. I can't see what the weather will be. Is it going to stay dry?
Well, so far it's looking like it's going to remain overcast. It's not going to be any large change over the course of this session, but I do believe drivers are forecasting rain at the start of the race before it dries up. So I'm very curious to see what strategy and what kind of approach these racers are going to take. Are they going to go for a dry setup for the later stint? Or, if the predictions are correct, are they going to go for a more intermediate or even a wet setup to focus on a car that is easy to control? Derbacore now, leading that queue, going to be the first to shoot.
Of course, so that makes it very interesting, doesn't it? Indeed, obviously, with what they do in terms of their strategies. But we can see Derbacore now heading down in towards the final corner to get underway with the first qualifying laps of this session. Heading into the final corner down towards turn number 1, getting himself foot to the floor as he heads in towards that first braking zone, braking just before that 50-metre board. Throw the car and get back on the power nice and early. DRS now to aid you up towards turn number 3. Bit of a kink at turn number 2, which still in my eyes does not exist. Before you hit the brakes yet again, and this first sector of 15.914 here for Lillian as he heads his way through into turn 3. Very nice there, hitting the apex when he needs to. DRS open once again as he heads down in towards turn number 4. You can see yet again very high straight line speed on the AlphaTauri, braking just after that 100-metre ball, just before the 50 as he heads in towards there, and obviously on the exit trying to get his foot down, bit of a slide on the exit from the car as he heads through towards turns number 6 and 7 here. Double left hand as it is for the AlphaTauri to take the next before he ends that second sector of 44.0 for Lillian so far. So this lap's happy, looking decent as he gets his way down now towards turn number 9.
Yep, looking fairly solid here. Got to keep the pace and keep the deltas up, so to speak. I know there is the inaugural lap, but they're still going to have in their mind Sector 1, Sector 2, Sector 3 target times. Derbacore coming to the line now. It's a 102.9. That is the initial benchmark. Who are we going to see challenge that? We've got Godendorp, 103 flat. We have got Klaffenbach, who has used Nordyke, going to be coming in just 26 milliseconds behind the AlphaTauri. But we say that, coming through Reese Linton, a 0.915, and then a few more cars are going to be crossing the line now. Liam Stevens, 103.4, goes 5th fastest in the inaugural lap. Jerry Van Bussel, I believe, is the next one up in that Sauber, and it's going to be a 103.1. A couple McLarens now. It's going to be Tycho Hardy, 3.004. And then you've got Leo Lund, of course, a driver that we've been keeping an eye on. Big slide coming out of turn 10, but does manage to hold it together. Still on decent pace, P9.
Of course, there, but a very nice opening lap indeed from Rieslington and Lillian Derbacore. At the top, at the moment, Joost Noordijk, of course, in 3rd place, and Tycho Hardy, they're ahead of Mirko Soriano. Now, that is key for the championship. Only 4 points separate them, so Mirko would hope he'd be higher than 6th, especially, with the way this grid is, he can't afford to have another poor race slash, not attend another race like he did back in Monaco. So he's going to get himself some points here tonight in the championship. I believe that was Joris there, popping himself up into P5, a bit nicer from the Mercedes driver here tonight, getting himself back into a bit more of fine form with the 1 minute 3.050. We've got Carlos Thatcher coming through as well. He's heading back into the pit, so no lap time being set for the Ferrari. And Lenny Pepinta, he's also invalidated, so no lap time for him on the board. So that's going to be what? 5 drivers here without a lap time, being Daniel, Julian, Kamil Shimon, and Lenny Pepinta. So they're going to have to obviously go out again. Once the track, well, it's not going to get wet, it seems, but the track, it's going to hope it gets a little bit nicer because it isn't the best conditions out there. Very, very cold at the moment. It would be, of course, with that overcast weather, so they might be a little bit slower than they could have been if it was a little bit warmer on the circuit. But we can see, of course, now just 2 cars heading back in, being Nico and Joris. And then we can, in around a minute or two's time, get underway with the second runs at the qualifying session. But at the moment, obviously, with Reese and Lillian being part of the race coach team, this is good for them to be 1 and 2, because if they can keep that, they can work together in the race.
Yeah, well, you don't really know what they're going to do. Of course, they have that affiliation, but it depends on the stances of the drivers, as if they want to work together, or, and not to mention, they say you don't really want to be sort of colluding, because that has been an issue in the past. We have seen drivers of teams colluding for race results, and that has been harshly that's been harshly come down upon. The hammer has swung in cases like that. So I think that there is certainly going to be some friendly rivalry, but I wouldn't say it's going to go to the point of working together. I think that would be crossing a line there.
Of course, but we'll see what they do. But we've got a few next laps getting underway shortly. It will be the other Haas, not Yost. It will be Julian Klaffenbach, which will get the second flurry of laps underway. We can see one of the Terry just again looking to get himself ahead to try and get on with it at the moment. And had a bit of information. Apparently, it's Kai Pearson's PC that has died, hence why he's not here in the qualifying, but he should be here soon. And apparently, Max Grospointer has fell asleep. He's not going to be awake in time, apparently. So we've got no Max, and at the moment, no Kai Pearson taking part in qualifying. But we'll see if they can join, of course, for the race, which will be in around another 15 to 20 minutes' time, obviously, with the restart we normally have at the end of this session. But we can see, yes, again, some more laps getting underway. This time it will be Lillian Derbical once again to head down in towards turn one, currently on a 102.927. They're just, what, 12,000 separating him and Reese Linton, so we'll see what Lillian can do on this second lap as he heads up towards turn number 3.
Yeah, but he's got to get a good initial sector time, 15.914, 13 milliseconds behind the leader in Reese Linton right now. He's got some good pace. He has got the fastest sector too, so I think he's geared his car towards a bit more higher speed cornering with some of the aero. And interestingly enough, Reese Linton used Nordyke, identical sector 3 times. They've both got an 18.888. So down to the millisecond, they've got an identical run here. So we're on board with Derbical. Let's see what he can do. Can he connect it all together in this final sector? Looking good from him there, but he has dropped a little bit of time, and this is going to cost him. I wonder if he's going to commit to this lap, or is he going to yield? Looks like it's going to be a yield from him. Going to be heading back in. Nordyke now has invalidated, unfortunately, speaking of. But Klaffenbach is coming up to the line. What is it going to do as he comes around turn 10? Looking on good form. It is going to be a P5. 103.041. And then we've got the rest of the field who are looking to set some times. Finally put themselves on the board. Yeltsin, 103.1, goes 8th fastest. Stasherer coming up to finishing their lap soon, but Shimalakomsky just behind as well. Pipinta needs to also get in on the mix because we know them to be a strong driver, and we need to see them getting something on the board. Stacher is abandoned yet again, going into the pits. They are not committed to a single lap thus far, and Lakomsky has taken that opportunity, going P5.
Of course, there, and Leo Lund making an invalidation on the end of the final corner. That would have been a 103.012. That would have put him up into P5. So a big shame for Leo Lund there to be stuck now down in P14. A few cars still left to come through on their lap. Sergio Sabrino up by a 10th in that first and second sector. We'll see what he can do. 10th and a half, sorry, in the middle sector so far. So that's looking to put him on around a point, around a 0.1 flat, so around where Liam Stevens is at the moment. So we'll see what can the Mercedes do as he heads through in towards the final few corners. He's gone wide. He's lost his lap time there. It would have been a 103.068, which would have been brilliant for the Mercedes, but unfortunately couldn't quite get the lap done in time. And we can see his course as well. Daniel Kvyat goes up into 3rd place for the McLaren's teammate Tiger Hardy in 5th at the moment on a 2.990, but still no one can get past that time of Reese and Lillian. Lillian back out onto circuit already to get his next few laps underway, or his next lap underway, I should say. We'll see. We've got 8 minutes left in this session, so Lillian, looking to get his 3rd run underway, he's going to be looking for 4 runs, which means he must have 4 soft tyres to use here.
Yeah, well, track surface temps and air temps are slowly rising as the race is getting less and less overcast. So yet to see what effect that is going to have on the session full and proper. But yeah, that run from Sabrino would have put him 11th fastest on the grid. He would have slotted himself just behind Pipinta there, and that would have been a really good swing for him. But Derbicourt and Linton, they've thrown down the gauntlet. They're saying that they are going to have some dominance in this session, and honestly, they've done a real good job, I'd say. They've done a really good initial lap. They have set the pace, set the tone. Track's going to rubber in, so I think we're still going to see those drop by a 10th. We have got just under 8 minutes left of this session still. So that is going to be seen, but that is a very, very powerful initial message.
Indeed, and we can see obviously the gap there between 1st and 3rd being just over 16 thousandths of 1 second there, a 9.31 for Daniel and a 9.15 for Reese Linton, who's currently at the top. And we can see Lillian now, yet again, underway with another lap in this session, heading down towards turn 1. Once again, we'll see what he can do this time around. Last lap, he matched his first sector, his personal best in the first sector. We'll see what he can do on this 3rd run here in qualifying. Can he match or get quicker in this first sector? He's down by 1.2 seconds. So is he going for an extra 8 lap here to try and burn off a bit more fuel in that Alpha Tauri. We can see Joost Noordijk heading up towards turn 3 as well. Is he up or down? He's up by half a tenth in this first sector. That's brilliant so far from the Haas at the moment. This would put him ahead of Reese, so he's going to keep his second and third sector nice and nip and tuck and get himself a good split, of course, in these next 2 sectors as he heads down into turn number 4, braking late. Throwing the car in. So far so good here from the Haas as he heads his way around into turn 5 before, back onto the anchors into turn number 6. Hopefully no one gets in his way as he heads through that turn number 6, a little bit wide as he comes through, hitting a bit of gravel. He's up by 36 thousandths, but someone got in the way there, didn't they?
Yeah, so looking a little bit dicey in terms of track space, and unfortunately that can happen. Godendorp's also an invalidation, so that leaves right now Reese Linton, current pole position holder, to go for another shot here. He's already got a really good position, being in that 0.915, but he could make it even further. I saw briefly on the track map he did have a purple sector 1. While the timing hasn't come through on my boards just yet, I'm very curious to see what he does here. Now, going into the downhill, double left, very easy to get it wrong, go into the gravel, spill a little bit and dirty your tyres. He has improved. It's just under a 10th improvement overall. This could be an extension of his pole position. Let's see. Great turn 9. Excellent pace having through there. Down into the last corner. Big swing on the rear. Really pushing the edge of that circuit. It's a great run. And it's going to be a 7.97. He's perfected this lap. All purple sectors. What a run. Absolute meteoric stuff from Linton.
Yep, that's a brilliant lap indeed from Reese Linton, but more cars still on laps, of course, as well. In this next part of qualifying, Lilian Devercourt up only by half a tenth of a second. That's nowhere near what he needs to get himself onto that top step. Mirko Soriano now into second with a 0.817 there, just 20,000 separating him and Reese Linton. A few more cars left to come through on their laps. I believe that was one of the Mercedes, followed by one of the Hasses. And we got Lilian. He goes up into third as Julian Klaffenbach went into third now. Down to P4. We've got one of the Aston Martins coming through. That will be Nico Benz, but he's invalidated on his lap, so not a good start here for Nico Benz. A few more cars coming through. We've got Liam Stevens. He goes up into ninth there with a 0.048. Daniel Kjelsen coming through in the final corner. What can he do? He's standing 13th. He goes up into P7 there for the Aston Martin. Toga Hardy coming through. He's up by a 10th. What can he do? He goes up into P4 there. Brilliant from Tygo Hardy. A few more cars left to come through, though, in these next few laps, I think. Will it be Leo Lund up to the line? He goes up to the line. Where does he go? Only 14th for Leo Lund. And then Sergio Sobrino, though, he's up by 1.7 tenths of a second. He's looking to be flying so far in this middle sector. What can he do in the final sector? Can he find himself any higher than P17 through the final corner? He invalidates. That is it for Sergio once again. And it would have been a 3.039, which would have put him up into P11.
Yeah, I gotta say, if we had a coin for every time Sergio Sobrino invalidated a lap and would have gone 11th fastest, I'd have 2 coins. It's not much, but it's weird that it happened twice. So, points for consistency on his part, and as we look around the rest of the field here, everyone is starting to converge in terms of pace. The 0.797, of course, is the time to beat, and what I consider short of a minor improvement on Sector 3, because Jerry Van Bussel actually did get a slightly faster time there. I would say that 0.8 is going to be your Goldilocks zone. This is where you're going to see most of the drivers aim for. We've already got P1 through P5 in that sort of sector, and then even just further down, 5 positions split by a single tenth of a second between P6 of Papinta and Shimon Lakomsky in P10, literally a tenth almost exactly.
Of course, and I think, at the end of this session, anyone could take poll in the in the sense of how close this grid is so far. We look at Reese Linton, pretty much a 0.8 flat, all the way down to Leo Lund. That's only what 3 tenths of a difference between the 15 drivers. So, if one of these drivers a little bit further down had a mistake on their lap, they could easily find the pace to get themselves onto the top. And we can see Reese Linton at pole position sitter at the moment on circuit, looking to try and get himself a pole position once again here in PCF2. Jerry Van Bussel following in close behind. He's in P15 currently on a 0.159. So we'll see what Reese Linton can do here on this final run. We'll see if he goes for 1 outlap, or we'll see if he goes for 2, because some drivers do 2, so they can burn off a little bit of fuel around the circuit. We can see Daniel, Simon heading out this pits as well, Keen Godendorp all heading out to get their next lap times underway. And well, the ending here, Sappy, could be rather interesting.
Yeah, well, the ending is certainly going to be the do well, the make or break shot for a lot of these drivers, and you can see they're taking it seriously because Reese Linton, for this entire half of the lap, he's doing more of an impression of the Honda Civic that goes up and down my street. He is revving that engine to the absolute max, trying to burn as much fuel as he can, because at this sport, in this league, at this level, every single kilogram of fuel counts, every single millisecond. So if you can maximize those chances, you're going to do it. That's what we're seeing here, that competitive mindset shining through. Every technique to maximize your chances and get every ounce of performance from yourself and from your car.
Of course, and considering, the gap between P1 and P2 is what? Just shy of 20 thousandths of a whole second. It shows how little these, it shows how big these little changes to your car can actually make and what difference they can make for your qualifying position. And P1 and P2, it might be only one position apart. But if you're first, that's one step closer to taking the win, rather than being in P2. But Rieslington now getting underway with another lap in this session. We can see Joris Krozen there getting a 5-pace grid penalty, but that is normal in these qualifying sessions either way. And we can see them all backing up in towards that final sector now. But Rieslington will be first, of course, to get underway, and we'll see what he can do in this first sector. Will it be an improvement for the Alpine as he heads up to the top of the hill? He's down by half a tenth. That's far from ideal there.
Yeah, it's not looking good, but he just might be able to make the threshold of going for a second run if he plays his cards right here. I'm curious as to if he's going to make an improvement or not. It's looking like the writing might be on the wall for him, but he can still pull this together. Now, down into the second sector. Turns 4 and 5, known for being a little bit of a corner for understeer, but handles it very nicely now. Into the gravel, however, it does skim it a little bit, gets the tyres a little bit dirty, manages to keep the grip levels up, but he has invalidated his lap. Now, is he going to go across that line for one more go and try and reserve the battery? I don't think he's going to be able to have a shot because his battery is absolutely cooked. He is going to keep going, but I don't think he's going to see an improvement. The writing is on the wall for him here.
Of course, I don't think he will at all. We can see, though, Jerry Van Bussel heading up towards the line. Where does he go? Into P10 goes the Sauber car. We've got a few more coming through. Of course, Tycho Hardy in that middle sector. He's down on his time. As we can see, Daniel Koyat in P6. Julian Klaffenbach here, though. Sabi, he's purple in that middle sector. As we can see there, Liam Stevens popping himself up into P9.
Yep, we've got a few more cars here. You've got Nico Benz crossing the line, making a small improvement, 15th fastest. Next is going to be the Haas. Klaffenbach, 0.778. Is going to take advantage of Linton's mistake and is not going to see the pole today. It's going to that Haas in the R8G. Next up, I think that's Kamil Stachera. It goes P6, followed closely by his teammate, Mika Soriano. Are we going to see an improvement there? No. 10th and a half down, not quite going to make it. Jus Nordijk in the second Haas is going to come in 5th, a 0.816, pipping Soriano by a single millisecond as we see a few more cars coming in here. Derbacourt invalidated his lap, no improvement. Yeltsin does make an improvement, but it's only just enough for 10th fastest. And that is qualifying, folks, because short of Reese Linton crossing the line eventually and heading into the pits, that is everyone done.
And there we are, RHG Haas sitting first and third. Brilliant from the two there in the Haas team, and well, they'll be very happy to take that P1 and P3 away here in qualifying, and obviously Reese Linton splitting the pair in second. We'll see the final classification of qualifying very, very shortly on your screens once the Alpine is wheeled back into the pits. And we can see, of course, it is the Austrian here for his home Grand Prix. Julian Klaffenbach on pole ahead of Reese Linton in second and Joost Nordijk in third. Our championship leader, Mirko Soriano, sits in for the head of his championship protagonist, Tycho Hardy, in P5, followed by Lilian Derbacourt, Kamil Stachera, Daniel Koyat, Lenny Pepinta, and Sergio Sobrino rounded out the top 10, followed by Daniel Kels in P11, Liam Stevens in P12, Jerry Van Bussel in 13th, Shimon Komsky in 14th, Joris Krozen in P15, followed by Keith Gondorp in P16, Nico Benz in 17th, and Leo Lund rounding out the grid in P18 in the Red Bull. And well, Red Bull, their day, well, especially for Leo, it's not good once again, is it? 3 tenths back off pole at, in last position. He's got a lot of work to do to get himself up towards the top of the grid. But, of course, Seppi, as always, we have our restart. So we're going to be having a bit of a break here, aren't we?
Yep, and we'll hear right back from everyone here and talk about the qualifying that just kicked off after a brief word from our sponsor. Oh, and look at that. It would have been a rain start. Never mind. I wonder if the weather's going to be preserved. We'll get the confirmation shortly. But we'll be right back with you, folks. 30-second break. And welcome back, folks. What a qualifying. What a qualifying there. We did see a big swing in the last dying moments of that. With the Haas P1 and P3, constructors-wise, they're having a pretty good day. You commented on the Red Bull having a sort of an Austria to forget in terms of quality times. But when it comes to Haas, they are in a very, very good position. I'll pull the constructor standings back on screen for you, just for a bit of context as to where we stand there. But yeah, Joost Noordijk, Julian Klaffenbach, they have a prime position here to potentially make a big swing.
They do. 14 points, about what's that? 24 points back off of Ferrari at the top. If they can finish first and third, or even in the top 5 for both of them, that could easily bring them up in towards that, top 3, maybe even try and fight after Alpine, depending where Reece Linton can finish. So this is very good, of course, for the Haas team, of course, in P5. But yet again, talking about Red Bull in 9th at the moment in the constructors, only 5 points between Liam and Leo, and yet again, both of them qualifying out to the top 10. That's going to put more pressure on the Red Bull team. But AlphaTauri looking stronger, especially with Lilian Derbicourt, of course, qualifying P6 in this race, and obviously Kai Pearson. We didn't see him in qualifying due to apparently his PC died, or there was some issue with his PC. We can also see on the screen the standings, and still it is, of course, Mirko Soriano who leads ahead of Tycho Hardy, and they're sitting 4th and 5th right together in the championship standings. Only Pinter, can't really remember where he finished, but I'm sure it was a little bit further down, of course, for Lenny. And then Reece Linton in prime position, starting 2nd ahead of both Mirko, Tycho and Lenny. He could also be looking to try and take that championship lead, depending on what the top 2 get up to tonight.
Yeah, and we'll see what they can do. But yeah, Mirko Soriano, P4, but has still got a good foothold in the championship. That 4-point lead against Tycho Hardy, who, as a reminder, finished 5th in quali here, so just behind. That is going to certainly be a bit of an advantageous position. Pinter, a little bit further down, he's down in P9, and then Reece Linton with the absolute stormer of an initial lap. Couldn't capitalise on it after he made his, beautiful mid-session run, but he did still get P2, so he's got a chance to make a big swing. Jan Halliday, that is another driver that, of course, we can talk about, because the Aston Martins, if not the Red Bulls having a bad day, the Aston Martins as well, because Yeltsin had to step in for him, and even then down in P11 alongside Nico Benz, who went P17 of 18. The Astons aren't in the best form tonight, but we might see that change.
Of course, and we'll see what happens, because this could be rather interesting. I'm having a bit of, I'll see some of the discussions in the Discord, and also what we can see on the screens at the moment. They're discussing, does it go to, does it say wet and go to dry? Does it say dry, dry, dry? I'm not quite sure what's going to be happening here at the moment. But it's going to be an interesting one, I think, tonight, because yet again, we're in a situation in the championship where you can't really say who's the best, because from what we've seen in previous seasons, you normally see one driver kind of be flat out the best. But here, every driver in I'd say pretty much 6 or 7 drivers have shown they are the best, or they can be the best. So it's hard again what to predict, because obviously Julian and we haven't seen those sit 1st and 3rd on the grid, even though we know they've got pace to do it. Now it's time to see what they can do in the race pace. What can they do from the front? And I think we've got a really good race. I think we've got 36 laps of probably chaos here at Austria. Pit stops are going to be crucial. That is the one thing the drivers have got to keep in their mind: strategy. It's for some tracks it's not as important, but here strategy is very, very important, because yes, we know that drivers can be on, of course, older tyres than others, and we do obviously have that pace disadvantage, but around here it's a lot easier to defend with those long straights.
Yeah, but there's also the wild aspect of the wet. We're starting on wet and we're going to dry. It's confirmed. So this introduces a whole new strategic element, because are drivers going to stick on the wet compounds till they know it's safe, or are we going to see drivers go a couple laps earlier and try and chance it on some slicks? That is going to add a whole new dimension to this race. And even then, when they do switch off to the slicks, which is planned because, as we say, wet to dry is confirmed, what compound are they going to go on? Do they go for high pace and hope that, they can defend with track position? Or do they go for something in the middle, go for the hard tyre, play it safe, get the longer stint? It all depends on when the rain stops, when the track dries up, and where they are on the track, because the fastest lap point and all of this other meta game, there's a lot for drivers to juggle. So if you don't have an engineer, you're going to have to do a lot of decision making.
of course, from what it seems in the Discord, it's going to be Inters to Overcast to dry, which means obviously with it going to Overcast, the track still isn't going to be the best. It's not going to dry up as quickly as it would if it was in the dry conditions. So the track will be nowhere near what it should be once we go to the drier conditions. So that is the question: is it when do they pit off of those Inters? When do they go to a set of maybe soft, mediums, or hards? That's also another thing they've got to consider, because I think we know that it will probably be a two-stop. So do you go medium, medium? Do you go soft, medium? What, that question of what the drivers do is going to be probably key in who wins the race. So I think that we could see probably anyone in that top 10, maybe that top 10, top 12 win, just on the basis of strategy alone. Normally it's, between the top 5, top 6, but here with it being rain to dry, and obviously the gap's not going to be too big, we can see opportunity for anyone to win here.
Yeah, and honestly, my read is we're going to see about the halfway point of the race, so about lap 17, 18. Hopefully the rain will have stopped by then. The track could still be overcast, but a dry line would have started to form from the Inters displacing the water. And then you will start to see drivers switch on. I think we will be seeing a soft medium, just because if you've got half the race distance, it's a bit too sketchy to go soft. Just because you will experience a lot of fall off, and it's very easy to get hung up on that compound before you realize that you've lost a lot of time, and that is going to be a bit of a difficult breakaway. So I think soft medium or medium soft, that's my my theoretical guess. That's my read on what the drivers are going to do strategy wise, but that's all speculation. We don't know what's going to happen until the race, and we have 20 seconds until we go trackside.
And I'm sure we'll see someone try and take cards to the end. I'm sure that's going to happen from at least one driver.
Oh yes.
On this grid, who might be a little bit further and who might be looking to just try and fight for everything they can. And I'm sure we'll see someone do that strategy. But of course, we can see on my screen at least a timer, and we'll count down to 0 seconds, and we'll head in towards the loading screen for the Austrian Grand Prix. Remember, it is most likely going to be Inter to dry and to dry. Obviously, as the timescales go in this game. So we've got a very interesting race. And Ben, or what did I say, Ben? No, I'm looking at your screen. It caught me off guard. Sappy, Ben, whatever. Who do you think's going to win tonight?
I'm very much keeping my eye on both of the Hasses. Klaffenbach in particular. They seem to have really strong pace. I was looking at some of the others, like I was looking at Statura, for instance, but the consistency wasn't quite there for me, at least in the qualifying. It's anything to go by. So my eyes are on Klaffenbach for this one. But with that being said, folks, it is time. We're going trackside, and we're here for race 4 of season 36. It's going to be good, and it's going to be very, very interesting. You can see it is a wet track. We are looking at quite the rainy beginnings here, and it's only going to get more interesting from this point onwards. Wet to overcast to dry. When those crossover points happen, strategically, it's going to be quite the fight.
It will. And I swear, every race I've done at Austria has ended up being wet at some point, whether it's full wet, Inter's all wet to dry. I've always seen a wet weather here at Austria, so it's no surprise to see these drivers starting, of course, on the intermediate tyres. But hopefully, I'm hoping no one started on the slicks to try and do something different. I'm hoping they haven't, because that could end quite badly indeed.
Yeah, that really could have a potential issue there. And that's... I mean, a driver at some point is going to take a gamble when it comes to tyres. There's going to be a massive gamble, because if you play your cards right, getting out on the slicks potentially a lap, 2 laps early, you could go from mid-pack to front of the pack with several seconds. But it is a very high-risk maneuver. So I don't think we're going to see anyone at the top go for anything but safe strategies. If you're a bit further down, you can afford to be a little bit more experimental.
Indeed, and I think we might. I don't think we'll see anyone going to slicks, but I think we might be seeing people who are lower down pitting a little bit early, just to try, of course, something different, to try and get themselves back in towards the mix. But as usual, we're having a long wait for the start of this race, and then hopefully we can get underway soon.
And there we go. That is 3, 4, 5 red lights right on cue here in Austria for the 4th round. And it is going to be immediately as we get off the jump. It's going to be a good getaway for Klaffenbach and Linton. A little bit of shuffling down the back as you have Liam Stevens and Daniel Hjeldsen trading places. You've got Statura, and besides, oh no, that's Mika Soriano, Tycho Hardy. You've got a couple of drivers who have dropped off in a big way. Reese Linton's dropped down. Currently a Haas 1-2 as the Alpha Tauri and the McLaren continue to fight down here. Turn 2. Into turn 3, you can see just behind a bit of contact coming in. Liam Stevens, he's going to be dropped down the order. traffic jam, chaos coming out of that third corner, over the crest of the hill now, down into turn 4. We're going to see fireworks here, but the Hasses have got away.
They have, and we can see as well there, Lillian Debacle up the inside of Mirko Soriano in towards turn number 4. Can he get the move done ahead of the Ferrari? They go side by side through in towards turn number 6 on the outside for the AlphaTauri. He can't quite get past the Ferrari there, so we'll be stuck behind just for now. We can see further back there, Daniel Kai defending from Lenny Pepinta. Lenny looking to make a move, couldn't make it in towards turn 7. He'll be looking for it, possibly down towards turn 9. He's going to be looking for the move. He's already alongside the McLaren here as they head in towards this penultimate corner. No, couldn't quite get the move done. We got Yeltsin and Lukomsky fighting into turn 9. Yeltsin, of course, ahead of the Williams. Further back, we can see that's Louis Welch, who joined in a little bit later. He's taking part in the AlphaTauri, so that means no Kai Pearson here for tonight. We can see, though, the top 2 being Julian and Joost Noordijk, followed by Reese Leeton in 3rd. Then we've got Mirko Soriano a little bit further back from that top 4 train. He's got behind him the likes of Lillian Derbicourt, Tygo Hardy, who are all pushing. Toga here looking for a move up towards turn 3.
Yeah, we can see Reese Linton as well. He's going to be making a challenge on Joost Noordijk here. He's going to have the inside heading into the third corner. They're going to be going side by side coming out of that. It's a drag race. Well, so far, the Alpine has the advantage. He's going to have the inside line into turn 4. They're going to be bumping wheels, going together, looking for opportunities, looking for space. Both Hasses have kind of boxed him in. There's contact between himself and Klafferbach here. The Hasses are not giving him anywhere to go.
They're not, and you can see there, brilliant teamwork so far by the 2 in the Haas, just trying to not let the Alpine through, but Reese is not going down without a fight. He's looking for it again.
Squeeze.
Into turn 7, looks for it there, couldn't quite get the move done. Down towards turn 9, can he do anything here? Can the Alpine, because battery-wise, they're both on about 50%, so both using quite a lot on these opening couple of laps. They head down towards turn 9, then in towards turn number 10, and we'll see them obviously head back down towards that first corner once again, and so far, Reesinton is looking quicker here than Joost, but just can't quite find the move because the 2 Hasses working so well together. Further back, we can see the likes of Mirko Soriano being tracked back a little bit closer to this battle for the top 3 because of all the fighting through that first and second sector. And now we can possibly see a change for the lead. We can see Joost gaining in on Julian. We can see Reese gaining in. He looks to split the 2, goes to the inside line of the 2 Hasses. Who makes a move for the lead? It will be Julian who keeps it. Joost will be in 2nd, Reese in 3rd. Bit of contact on the exit at turn 3, down to turn 4. They go again, and we'll see. Can Reese quite get the move done on the Haas this time around?
Yeah, we're going to see where he's going to go. He's looking left, he's looking right. He's looking for any opportunity that he can take here on this 3rd lap. Even with no DRS, they still want to make the push. A little bit of a slide from Reese Linton, but he has got the move potentially done. Now, is Joost going to go for a counter-attack here? Down the hill. The Alpine has it. He's got a bit of space. He's managed to insert himself between the 2 R8G drivers, and this is a bit of breathing room for that Alpine. Bit further down, Kamil Stachera. He's going to be going for a challenge against Tycho Hardy. Both of the McLarens, P7 and P8 right now, they are looking to keep things interesting, but Tycho Hardy has conceded the spot. Derbicourt as well, not happy with letting them lie. He's going to be challenging Soriano.
He will indeed as they head back down towards turn 1 once again, and there we can see Joe Van Bussel on the back of Daniel Clare. 3 F7Rs in a row, being Tycho, Daniel and Jerry, sitting 7th, 8th and 9th in this race so far. We can see Lillian Derbicourt, though, gaining in here on the back of Mirko Soriano. He isn't close enough to make a move, but he's gaining in here on the back of the Ferrari. We can see as well Kamil Stachera gaining in on the back of Lillian Derbicourt. Further back, the 2 Red Bulls swapping for P15 and P16. Jerry splitting the 2 McLarens, or at least trying to split the 2 McLarens. There at turn 3. Traction race down to turn 4. Daniel keeps it ahead just about from Jerry Van Bussel, who just can't quite find the move ahead, of course, of the McLaren. Further back, Lenny Pepinta, he's looking to try and get involved somewhere. Normally, we don't see Lenny down in 10th. We normally see him fight for the lead, so a big surprise to see him so far down here in this race. We can see further back there, Leo Lund losing positions. He's now down to P17, fighting with Louis Welch and Nico Ben Sappi. A man to talk about. Nothing's gone right, has it, for him tonight?
Yeah, things have really just taken a bit of a downturn for him. I hope we can find some form here because things are not looking bright for him. He's in a bit of a tough spot. He's trying to make it past the likes of Godendorp. You can see he's itching to get round, itching to get some gains and start fighting upwards for some of these positions, but it's just not happening for him. I'm not sure what's happened to him here, but it seems like he had a bit of a tough spell last round, and that has carried through here.
Of course, and it's the last thing a driver wants, isn't it? Having a bit of an issue in your previous race, following that, lack of confidence through towards the next round, and that is really showing, of course, isn't it, for Nico Benz? But they all head back down to turn 3. Once again, no moves being made. There is going to be a move being made. I think that might be Lenny Pepinta looking to get ahead of Jerry. He's got the inside line out at turn 3, heading down towards turn number 4. A collision somewhere. That'll be Louis Welch's round at turn 3. He's got himself back on the road, but still quite far back from the rest of the field. We can see moves being made. Lenny to the outside. It seems like there's a Mercedes there getting involved. That'll be on the back of Shimon Lukomsky for P12. Shimon off the road for a split second. Sergio Sobrino back into P12 now ahead of the Williams. We can see further upfield, Jerry Van Bussel once again looking to make moves here ahead of Daniel Koya. And then at the front still, those gaps are there between P1, 2, 3 and 4 are increasing now, aren't they? 6, 7 tenths between everyone in that top 4.
Well, they burnt a lot of their ERS and their resources in those initial few laps. So right now, Klaffenbach, Linton, Nordyke, Suriano to a similar extent, they're all just trying to get some consistent laps in now. They've had their initial challenges. They've settled on their positions. They're not really in any sort of commanding position to take a big swing at the other. So they're focusing on just getting the laps down, getting to the overcast stage of the race so they can really optimize their strategy. I think that's the play here.
Of course, we'll see what happens as this strategy gets along, and once we see the track drop, probably in a few laps' time, because on my screen there's no rain at all coming down onto the circuit, so the rain could come in quite early, could be looking to around lap 9 or 10 before we see people pitting, of course, onto a set of the softer compound, or sorry, I should say the slick compound of tyres, as we can see into turn 4. Contact, Tygo Hardy hitting the back of Camel Statra and sending the Ferrari round. He broke way too late, and the Ferrari goes round. Toko gets damaged and loses time. Now, that's not good, because to me, that looks like a slam dunk penalty. And remember, he's fighting for second in the championship.
Yeah, that is going to be a death knell for his championship efforts. I have no doubt that the stewards are going to come down hard on that. Intentional or not, you cause a collision, you are going to be slapped with a healthy dose of penalty points. And so that is going to certainly be brutal. Oh, a bit of fighting on track there still. That is going to be Tycho Hardy almost making contact with Papinta there, as he's going to be trying to get a move through turn 10. It doesn't go for it, luckily. He's staying back for now, but itching for the position.
Yeah, it looks like there's some heavy damage, or at least a little bit of damage on the back of that McLaren, and Lenny Papinta tucking in behind, looking to get some slipstream up towards turn 3 to make a move, but he can't. He's using his battery, but the McLaren's got way much more speed, but he sends it into turn 3. Goes Papinta, can he get the move done? Goes deep. Toko can't cut back under him because of the damage on the car, so Lenny into P8. What can Daniel Kjellson do? He's looking to get himself ahead of the McLaren, but he can't either put himself alongside. But now, Toko's coming back at Papinta into turn 4. Papinta breaks later, has a bit of a lock-up into turn 4. Toko tries to go around the outside, he can't do so. Kjellson now, up the inside towards turns 4 and 5 ahead of Tycho Hardy. Toko's got the inside back in towards turn 6, and he try and stick himself through. He can't. You can see he can't carry any speed through any of the corners without going out wide.
Honestly, excellent racecraft from Kjelton there. You saw him bait him going into turn 4. He forced him to pull out wide. Then he can get the cut back through turns 4 and 5. He knew he didn't have the grip either to hold the challenge as he went round the outside there. Kjelton read the situation, responded perfectly, and he very much earned that P9.
Indeed, and we can see as well now Sergio Sobrino in the Mercedes looking to close in on the back of Tycho Hardy this lap round, and Tycho, we can see, you know, he's going to be pretty much out to the points here at this rate because he's just losing position after position now. Obviously, he was in P7 earlier on, now down to P10 and fighting for P11. We can see further back behind Sergio is Joris looking to gain in, so is Shimon Lukomsky in P13. They're all on the back of the McLaren as they head up in towards turn 3, looking for moves. Leo Lund has to bail out of that. He goes deep to the outside of Lukomsky. Leo Lund goes. He collects the wheels, hooks the tyres there between the Williams and the Rebel. He's going to go side by side down to turn 4. He can't either find a move. What about Joris? Can he look for a move on towards his teammate? No, he can't. Leo Lund sends it on. Lukomsky has to back out. He couldn't find the move here either, but look at what that's done, Sabby, to the top train. Lilly into second back. Daniel's 1.4 seconds behind. Jerry is now 1.5 seconds back. That has helped everyone in the top 4 here.
Yeah, and that's especially going to be important because as the track dries up, because you're right, there is no longer any rain falling, at least visually. When the track dries up and DRS gets activated, those drivers in the sort of P6, P7 range, they are going to be in a very bad spot because they're not going to have any way to keep up with the top 4.
Of course, and I'm not sure what happened to Joost Noordijk, but he got overtaken by Mirko into the final corner.
I think he
so
had
I don't know if he went a
mistake.
little... Yeah, he must have gone wide somewhere, or at least lost a bit of speed heading down in towards turn number 9. And now Mirko in the top 3, looking to take 3 podiums out of 3 for the races he's attended this season so far. Obviously missing out last week in Monaco.
Look at the back of the field. Look at the back of the field.
Oh, they're pitting.
They're going on to slicks on lap 9.
Mediums, hards, and softs for the 3. Tycho to a set of softs. Joris, Nico and Camille onto a set of mediums and Keen going up onto a set of hards. And we said that before, didn't we, Sappy? There's going to be such a mix of tyres. It's going to be down to strategy of who wins this race.
I honestly didn't think that it would come this early, though. By the look of some of my telemetry, it was saying that we would be getting a bit of a later crossover point for where the track goes to overcast. It's technically still displaying that it's raining, at least on my end. So the data suggested otherwise, but it looks like these drivers are going to go for an early push. They're going to jump onto the slick tyres. And now we can see that the race leaders are following suit. Klaverbock in, Linton in, Nordyke, curiously, gonna stay out for a lap longer. Derbacourt, Koya, Kjeldsen, Pepinta. Oh, Kjeldsen also is staying out, in fact. My mistake there, but look, everyone's going in.
Yeah, and this has harmed Joost because at the pit stops they can't put both Julian and Joost in, otherwise they're going to have a mistake, of course, with having a double stack. And look at the tyre difference, medium, soft, hards, all around here at this point in the race. And now the strategy is all up in the air. Who will be leading this race? Because Joost, where's he heading down? He's in towards turn 1 now. Is he going to get a couple of positions? He can't get the top 5. I don't think this has quite worked out for Joris. I think he's going to come out where he was before, so it's not the worst, but not the best here for Joris. Up into P13, trying to get a move ahead of Simon. He does get the move ahead of Shimon Lukomsky, and they're looking to get ahead of his teammates. So, for Joris, it's worked, but it also hasn't worked. And now DRS has been enabled, which means the track is dry. The top 4 are really harmed here now.
Yeah, Joris has an opportunity, though, to get a couple positions because he has got a lot more heat into those tyres. And track surface temps are still very low. There is still a bit of spray, so getting the heat into these compounds, especially the harder ones, is going to prove to be difficult right now. It's looking like Kjeldsen can get a bit of an opportunity here, but he's not got the pace to necessarily bring it full circle. Soriano on the mediums here, P7, net P3 when you consider the top 3 and now top 4 have all come off the inters. They saw DRS enabled, and I think that was the universal sign of, oh great, we may have made a mistake here, because now everyone is going to be on slicks.
They will, and we'll see. Obviously, some of those guys come out a little bit further back in the field, but Julian Klavenbach has the lead ahead of Reece Linton and Mirko Soriano in 3rd place. On the mediums, he will be quicker than those in the top 2, of course, and then Joost will pitted a lap later, but it hasn't really harmed him too badly, luckily, for the Haas driver, and we can see behind him Daniel Kai looking to gain in. He, of course, is on a set of the softs along with Jerry Van Bus, so those 2 will be flying as this race gets underway for the next 3 or 4 laps, and then they'll probably drop back once their tyres start to die off a little bit. Once they've, gone out of their optimum window, but we can see moves being made now. Lenny Pepinta on the back of Joris. Joris can't find any defence there from anybody. Will be making an attack here on the back of Sergio, but no, 6 back. He wants that DRS from his Mercedes teammate, so he's 6 behind the back of Joris for now. Lenny in P11. We've got Lukomsky in P12. He's also looking to try and find moves here, but can't find anything to work ahead of Lenny on the hard tyres. Then we have up a little bit more battling up towards the top, of course, with Daniel Koya on the softs already within, 2/10 here of Joost Uldrijk on lap, earlier at the start of lap 11, it was, I think 8/10. So you can see the gap's coming down so quickly, and already pushing the Haas through the final corner. Nico Benz gets a 3-second penalty that will harm his race even more here tonight. And now we can see Daniel Kaya looking to make some moves here on this grid into turn 1, 6 back, but wants a DRS down towards turn number 3.
I honestly think that Joost should have double stacked with Klaffenbach there, because he would have still lost a bit of time, but I think it would have been worth the time sink to get out on those optimal tyres a lap earlier. You can see Koya has got the move done on Nordyke here. He is on a lap younger hards, so Koya has got a big grip advantage, and he's going to utilise that, but it is going to sort of come back to bite when Nordyke continues on his current stint. You've also got Soriano on the mediums chasing down Reece Linton, and he's going to be in a similar situation. Although same age on the medium, it's not going to be as advantageous, but he still has a bit more grip to employ. You can see how he's trying to gauge his opponent. Look at the lines that he's taking, both for cooling and for making sure that he has full awareness of what that Alpine is up to.
Of course, and I'm still keeping my eye here on the McLaren of Daniel Kaya. What's he going to be trying to do here in this situation? In P5, lap 12 of 36, still another 24 to go. And he's definitely going to have to pit again. Those on the hards can go to the end, I believe, here. I don't think they need to pit. Those on the mediums and the softs, I'm not quite sure. I know the softs definitely won't go to the end. The mediums, I'm not as sure. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see as this race gets underway. But Daniel Kaya will be looking to get some moves done earlier, as early as possible, just to try and get a bit of an advantage over those on the hards and mediums before he makes his pit stop once again. We can see Daniel Kelso now into the P8. He goes ahead of Sergio Sabrino. Obviously, that was done down towards turn 3. We got King Gondorp was also ahead of Camel Stasher, but back for the battle for P8. You can see Sergio looking yet again on the back of Daniel, but Daniel's weaving. He's saying, stay with me, don't overtake, don't battle. We need to catch up to those in the top 7. So we'll see what they choose to do over these next few laps, but the top 4 all within what, 2-3 tenths of each other, and now Daniel is going to just about get inside the 1 second. He is 9 tenths is the gap now, so Daniel Coy will be looking to charge and make some moves on these in the top 4, and we'll see if he can disrupt any of the work these in the top 3 are trying to do. But we can see the likes of Mirko and Lillian pushing Reese Linton through these corners. Julian leading them away, of course, down towards turn number 1. DRS enabled as they head on to lap 14 of 36. They head back down to turn 3 once again, and we'll see who can take the lead this time around.
Well, I think the fastest lap changed hands 5 times in the space just few seconds, so everyone is giving it their absolute best. You can see Mirko Soriano potentially shaping up for a move here. 1.5 tenths behind, goes to the inside, doesn't fully commit to the move, but does make the pressure known. Soriano is very hungry for that move there. Joris Crossen and Daniel Hjeldsen a bit further behind. They're going to be trading places coming through turn 3. Nico Benz and Papinta are going to have a fight of their own, as Stacher and Gonendorp are going to follow suit. A little bit of dicing around in this lower pack here, but eyes are on the mid pack and eyes are on the front. As it stands, Koya has made a massive amount of time quickly. He's already on the back of Derbacor, and he could be staging a potential move for some podium, but he needs to do it fast because those softs, they're going to give up eventually. They have massive grip, but they have a very limited life window.
Of course, and obviously with all of those backing off into turn 3 last lap, that has allowed Daniel to gain in even more. And obviously then he gained about 3 tenths on that back straight in towards turn number 4 now. They head up towards turn 1 once again, and Julian still leads ahead of Reese, ahead of Mirko, who's actually looking to pull side by side to the outside. Goes the Ferrari, gets a worse line, loses a little bit of time there as they come through into turn 1. That also hangs back to Lillian. He's now under pressure here from Daniel Kai. They head up towards turn 3. Who's going to be making moves here as they head into the braking zone? Daniel goes to the outside. Mirko goes to the inside of the Alpine. He can't find a move there. What about Daniel? Can he get the move ahead of Lillian? He can't. But now Jost Nordijk on the attack, looking to get ahead of the McLaren, who's on the soft tyres. Daniel really not making a good job of this on these soft tyres. And then we can see Lillian looking to attack here on the back of Mirko. Mirko down to P3. He's trying to fight back off Lillian. And Lillian, Daniel, Jost are all looking strong. And on the back of the top leaders are all on that equal pace. They just ended up tripping over each other here.
Yeah, Derbacor is in a really tough spot, I have to say. Out of all these drivers here, they've got the toughest job. They're defending from Koya at the same time as they're trying to chase down Soriano. You can make it a very clear prediction as to what happens if he gets a bit too overzealous. Saying that, Leo Lund's going to be hit with a 3-second time penalty, so track limits are very much a concern here, particularly around that last corner. As we saw in qualifying, deceptively fast, but also deceptively easy to get a track limits violation, and 3 is game over. So how you drive and how conservative you are with your driving is going to make a big impact. I don't think that'll be the last penalty we see tonight.
Of course, we can see many drivers heading back up to turn 3 once again, and now Jost Nordijk looking to catch up here to Daniel Koya. So are these softs looking to die off here at the moment? Because Daniel not really making the indents that he did earlier on in these last couple of laps. We can see yet again Mirko gaining in on the back of Reese Linton, but not close enough to make a move. We can see further back as well, that train with the 2 Mercedes leading them away. They're not really gaining in. The gap was 2.8 about 3 laps ago. It's still 2.8 at this point in the race, and they're in that top 8. And I had a message earlier on saying that the hards will make it to the end, and those on the mediums and softs, once they pit again, probably will not catch. So these on the hards could have played the best strategy here to take it all the way to the end and defend from those who obviously pit once again in the next few laps time. But we can see Mirko here, he could also be in a sticky situation if we know that the hards can go to the end. So he's taking a bit of a risk here over those in the top 4, and that might not pay off here for the Ferrari.
Yeah, but the hard tyres, you are still going to have to put in some conservation efforts. You don't want to be hammering them, because make it to the end or not, if you're significantly down on pace, even the best managed hards that are really down, really worn, can be caught up to some fresh softs, fresh mediums in a matter of seconds. So it's a juggling act. But saying that, there is going to be a bit of a tussle at the front end of the pack. It's going to be Linton, it's going to be Soriano, and Klaffenbach in very close proximity. They're all looking for moves on each other. This is where the hammer now drops. Soriano knows that on those mediums, they should be catching. They should have passed already, but it's not happening. So I believe that Ferrari is getting a little impatient.
He is. He wants to make moves, but he just can't find a move ahead of Reese and Julian because of that DRS, because of how strong it is. Along those back straights in towards, obviously, turns 3 and turns 4, he can't really get a move unless he burns all these battery, which is the last thing he wants to do when you've got another 20-ish laps to run in this Grand Prix. We can see further back, though, Joost Noordijk looking to gain in yet again on the back of the McLaren. Daniel's already struggling. He's been on these softs for 7 laps. He's already under pressure from drivers on the hard tyres. We can see Jerry Van Bossel's also backed off a little bit there from Joost Noordijk, so we know he's also losing a little bit of time now on those softs. We can see them all head up towards turn 3 once again, and now the Haas is looking to make a charge on the McLaren. He goes to the outside or the inside. What did he choose to do? He goes to the inside, brakes later than Daniel. Can he get the move done on the exit? Bit of contact, it looks like, for a second with the AlphaTauri on the exit as they head down to turn 4 side by side between Daniel and Joost. Who will get it done? It will be the Haas. So now Daniel down to P6. He's going to have to probably start thinking about pitting again in these next few laps.
Well, he certainly hit that crossover point where the softs are starting to lose their advantage. They're going to be about on parity with the medium tyres at this point and the hards soon after. So he has kind of lost his advantage, and this is, as you say, when he needs to start thinking about pitting. I would say the next couple of laps or so would be a time where he has to decide, but he also needs to consider taking his next set all the way to the end. I would hold fire. I would bide my time because even with the soft compound starting to fall away, needs to make sure that his next stop is going to give him enough pace to bring it to the end and remain competitive all the way through, even if there's some penalty now.
Yeah, and I have a feeling that it probably will be mediums, of course, for Daniel and Jerry. I can't see them taking another set of softs, and I can't at all see them taking a set of the hards. As we can see, Daniel Kjelsen making his way through towards P8 ahead of Sergio Sobrino. Into P8 goes Kjelsen, and now looking to yet again close into that top 7 pack. 2.5 seconds now is the gap between the top train and the middle train, and that middle train goes all the way down to P14. So they're all in little groups here, looking to pull each other along on their different strategies here at this point in the race. And we can see Joost Noordijk is looking strong. He's 1.6 tenths back off Lillian in some parts of the circuit. It's pushing the AlphaTauri through. So maybe Joost could be looking to try and take victory today, being as he's also on the better hard tyres. 8 laps for him, 9 laps for all those ahead. So he pitted later. He's now in a better position, which at one point I thought, no, he's going to lose time. But at this point, no, he's looking way stronger than those in the top 4, and obviously still the McLaren and the Sauber sitting close behind the back of the top 5, so they're not going to be looking to pit just yet because they know they can still stick within that DRS range. But those at 8th and below now are looking to gain in even quicker. 2.2 seconds is the gap between them and now P7.
Yeah, unfortunately I can't get much of the reads on the tyre wear for some of these races here tonight, but what we do know is that as things stand, it could go either way. Joost Noordijk looking very strong on that hard compound, is in the prime spot to take some positions, but that is going to be the difficult part, is taking the positions. It's going for the track position, something that these top 3 are not taking lightly. We just saw a trade between Linton and Klaffenbach, and Suriano's going to go in. He's going to make it 1. He's going to make it 2. It's turn 4 and 5. He's locked it in. Suriano has decided that enough is enough, and he's going to say, I'm not happy with second. I'm going straight to the top.
Indeed there, brilliant move from Mirko Suriano now to take the lead of the Austrian Grand Prix, and we'll see what more moves can be made. The gap now between Sergio and Jerry, 1.9 seconds. It's coming down quickly, but remember, they've all got to pit once again, so they're in a really bit of a bad situation in that sense. And there we can see Julian Klavenbach on the back of Reece Hinton once again as they head down towards turn number 1, looking to gain in here, not going to make a move into turn 1, was definitely close enough to try and edge it out to make a move in towards turn number 1, and they head back down to turn 3 once again. Who's going to be making moves this time around? Because Joost Noordijk is on the back and already passing Lilian Derbacourt, using his teammate for a bit of slipstream down into turn 3, then tucks behind the back of the Alpine, goes to the outside of his teammate there to defend from Lilian, fighting back. They head down to turn 4 once again, and it's going to be Mirko leading Reece, leading Julian, Joost and Lilian as they head down to turn number 4. Can any moves be made this time around? I don't think anyone's close enough to make a move, but we can see Daniel Coyne now gaining into the back of Lilian. He's had a bit of springing pace again, so he's going up and down. It's the McLaren on the soft, so we'll see what he can choose to do next. But further back we can see Lukomski there getting past Joris to put himself into P10, and obviously Sergio obviously just behind the back of Daniel Kjelsen. They're right in the mix there to get DRS probably next lap around.
Yeah, well, the Mercedes didn't catch up to that big queue further up just because they were fighting. They were consistently fighting and trading places with one another, and top racers or not, you're not going to be making any time up that way. You can see the two soft runners, Koya and Van Bussel, both heading into the pits now. They're going to be taking their stop now, and I imagine they are going to be going on to, as predicted, the medium. Let's see what they do here. Lekomsky, interestingly, on the medium already, but has made the choice to pit now, and there you go. Both soft runners onto the mediums, looking to take them to the end, and then a few more drivers up at this top end are going to be looking to trade some places very soon. Linton is looking hungry for the spot, but didn't get the best exit out of turn 3.
Definitely not, as they all head down towards turn 4 once again, and he's going to be looking to catch back to the back of Mirko. Can't find a move into turn 4, but will be happy to stick behind to use that DRS to his advantage on these next few laps. I think we all know that Mirko will go in the next few laps' time, so Reese hasn't got to worry, because Mirko isn't really fighting for position here. He's just fighting at the moment just to keep himself ahead and get as much of a gap as he can to those who have just been into the pit stop. 9 seconds to the gap between Daniel and Tiger, so we'll see how quickly they gain back in to that top 14 train, and then we can see pit stops happening now. Mirko going to be looking to make a pit stop here. Reese Linton goes to take the lead, Julian takes second, and then Joost Noordijk in the Haas takes P3 along with Lillian Derbacourt. They're going to stay to the end of this race. I can't see anyone here making a move ahead against any of these hards. Surely they're going to win this race because they're that far clear. It's going to be taking too long for those on the mediums to catch up.
Well, the great thing as well is with some of these hard runners, because they have the DRS and they're not making much positional challenges, although saying that, Klaffenbach is going to be immediately taking up the challenge presented by the lack of the medium runner at the top. He's going to be going for it. He's going to be backing out. He's going to go side by side with his teammate. Also in the Haas there, Joost Noordijk is going to be yielding to let Klaffenbach go a bit further ahead. He's going to go for the challenge once again, but doesn't confirm, doesn't commit to it through turn 4. But yeah, Linton, he's on basically a full battery. He could use Suriano to effectively farm ERS.
Of course, at this point, definitely. And we'll see what happens. And we can see Joe Van Bussel making a move ahead of Mirko. Back down for P13 and P14. They're now going to look to try and catch back up to those in the top 12. It's going to be... It's a bit of a weird strategy, isn't it, here from Mirko? You know, he's done everything different to his rivals. And at the moment, he's got a lot of work to do. And I think too much work to do. In these next 13 laps, we can see Leo Lund now into the pit lane. He'll be onto a new set of medium tyres to take those to the end of this race. And I'm sure we'll see Sergio Sobrino pit in a couple of laps' time. Louis Welch gets a 3-second penalty. He's up in P9 at the moment. So big shame for Louis. Moves up to P8 now. Big shame for Louis to get a penalty at this point in the race. We can see Liam Stevens looking to fight with him as well for P8 and P9. But back to the top, we can see moves looking to be made here. Reese leading away the two Hasses. Will they look to make a move and get a double overtake here on the back of Reese Linton? But a bit of a poor exit there from Julian Klaffenbach as they head there to turn 4, but he's got the battery, he's got the DRS to use. He pulls to the inside. Can he make a move? No. Sits back for now. Sits behind the back of the Alpine, and surely once the team has this up, he can get alongside the Alpine. They'll make the move and try and take that 1 and 2.
I think it all comes down to the exit of turn 3, and Klaffenbach twice now just hasn't got the speed that he's needed to carry that momentum through. I think with some of the positions that he's had, it's going to be a bit optimistic. Like we just saw there, he backed out. I think that was the right call. He was a bit optimistic to go for it from that gap, but he needs to nail this turn 3. That's all it really is. He can close the gap as much as he likes coming out of turn 1 through turn 2. That is another DRS zone, as well as down here in the start-finish straight. But he cannot afford to get a poor exit. He needs to get on the throttle early. He needs to lock in the rotation and commit to the line.
Of course, as we can see, the Mercedes of Sergio Sobrino making a pit stop here in this race. He'll drop then to the back of the field here. P18 it will be, or P19 I should say, here for Sergio Sobrino, but he does have better tyres than all those fighting for position. We can see down to turn 4 though, Julian Klaffenbach looking to take the lead ahead of Reese. Can he get the move done to turn 4? He'll easily get past the back of the Alpine, and Joost Noordijk will be looking to catch in. He can't find a move yet, but now the two Hasses can work together to get Joost into second place, and then Lillian looking to close in behind. But that top 6 all looking to stay out, the top 9 will be looking to stay out to the end of this race. So we can see Lekomsky making moves ahead of Benz. So this strategy still, it's going to be up in the air, but it's I can't see anyone getting past that top 6 surely, because they've got to get up to Tiger Hardy. Then another 6 seconds separates Louis Welch and Nani Papinta.
Yeah, and that is the kicker here. Everyone on the hards is no doubt going to the end. They've got that additional pace, and the gap between P6 and P7 is all you really need to know. On such a DRS heavy track, you're not going to be closing that time unless you're playing a lot of leapfrog. And that gap should already have been closing, but it doesn't look like it's going to be happening. Liam Stevens, for instance, very close to the back of Louis Welch, and he's going to be trying to go for the move. But once he's got that, where does he have to go? The answer is not much.
Of course, we'll see what they can do. Maybe, Sappy, we could have a look at the leader gap and we can see how far back those on the medium tyres are to those on the front of the hards. We can see Kaya and Mirko Soriano fight for position there with Jerry Van Bussel in ahead. They all head down to turn 4 once again. The Sabre leads away ahead of the McLaren and the Ferrari. We'll see what moves can be made. Mirko's going to look to make it 3 wide into turn 4. No, 6 back. Looks to stay behind the back of the McLaren into the braking zone. Jerry goes wide. Daniel gets the move done on the back of the Sabre. Can Mirko try and fight back? No, has to back out. Tycho Hardy let him through. Daniel then going to try and defend if he can from Mirko. He's got the inside line there, and you can still see Tycho suffering, I think, from damage still. Otherwise, his tyres are just dead here. 17 laps he's ran on those softs. He's just trying to defend. He can't do anything to anyone who's ahead of him or behind him as they head down to turn number 9. And Tycho Hardy looking to probably pit. No, but a contact between Tycho Hardy. He's going to go into the nearly into the barriers, and oh, that was a close call there for the McLaren.
Yeah, I wasn't able to quite catch who made contact with him there. I think that might have been Nico Benz, but I had to get it confirmed on the footage. Either way, 17 laps on the softs. He's absolutely cooked there. There's nothing he can do. Back up to the top. Klaffenbach and Linton, they're going to be dueling for the position here. They're going to be drag racing out of turn 3 into turn 4. The Haas of Nordyke is going to, in fact, be up at the front. It's very close. It's very dicey. Unfortunately, the camera angle not doing us much of a favour. As you can see, the Alpine is just boxed in. Again, similar story to before. Nowhere to go. Linton is just fighting to stay in this race.
Of course, yep, and it's not good at all because they're going to bring all those behind even closer to this front battle. We can see Lily and Daniel and Nelly just waiting for something to happen. They're not involved in the battle. They just want those top 3 to fight. Maybe someone have a bit of a collision, get damaged, go wide. Then they can try and pounce and get themselves in towards a top 3 position. They all head back down to turn 1 once again for lap 28 of 36. And Joost Noordijk now leads ahead of Riesling and ahead of Julian Klaffenbach in third. But Lily and Davico looking to try and get a bit of a move on now. He's gaining in, he's using a bit of battery here on the back of the Haas. Can he look to make a move and get himself into a podium position? He pushes to the outside line. Lillian takes the outside line, breaks later. The Alpine blocks the Haas. He goes to the outside, tries to pull along. Can he get alongside the back of Julian? Julian, he can, but he's got to burn a bit of battery to keep his up ahead, to keep that overspeed in towards turn number 4. Because the Reese looking to try and fight for a bit of contact there between the Haas and the Alpha Tauri. Lillian, looking to take P3. He goes to the outside at turn 4. That'll give him the inside to turn 6. Reese Linton looking to take the outside as well at turn 6 ahead of Joost Noordijk, but can't find the move through. Can Lillian take P3? He's going to be side by side still with Julian into turn 7 and 8. And Lillian does get the move into P3. Goes the Alpha Tauri.
Amazing stuff there, just keeping the fight up, keeping the nose clean as well. Minor contact slightly, but no major dramas. Yeltsin, though, has been brought into this fight, and you can see there's a big wide exit from Klaffenbach there. Twice he goes wide. Oh, and that is going to be also Papinta being joined in. This top 6 is going to absolutely be coming to blows. It's a similar story a bit further down too.
You know what? They're catching quick. Look at the gap. Mirko is already within the 1 second of Liam. They've only got 5.4 seconds. This could be quite a close finish here tonight, but we can see more battling down to turn 3. Yeltsin looking to take a podium here ahead of Lillian Derbicourt. They head down to turn 4 once again, and now the Aston Martin on the podium. Last time it was the Alfa Tauri, then it was the Haas, but this time around it will be the Aston Martin fighting for P3, but Lillian sent it to the inside, has to back out, and now that brings Julian back into P4. Lillian goes side by side with Julian in towards turn number 6. Who will be taking P4? Who will take P5? It will look to be at the moment Julian Klaffenbach, but Lillian still trying to fight back to the outside, and these two going hell to nail every single lap they can, and still Julian keeps himself ahead as Nico Benz gets another 3-second time penalty.
Titans clash in F2. It's looking like absolute fireworks down on this track, and you can see these top 6, nobody is willing to give an inch as they continue to charge, continue to lock horns. Coming up to turn 1 as we start lap 30 here, we're coming up to the final stages of this race, and nobody is willing to quit.
Of course, and look at that gap now. 4.4 seconds is between Daniel and the top 6 as Nico Bendretize in the pit lane. He's done for the day here in Austria. And we can see Reese Linton fighting once again. Now we've got Daniel looking to make a move here on the back of the Alpine. He can't find a way through. Can Julian look and try and make a move back for P3? He's also not got quite enough speed to carry himself to pull a move ahead of the Aston Martin. We can see a few moves being made back further. Leo Lund ahead of Joris Krozen for P13 and P14. We can see Mirko Soriano here fighting with Daniel Coy. Someone's gone round somewhere. I think it might just be the corpse car of Nico Benz heading out onto track to retire from this session. With that gap, 4.1 seconds. We'll see how much can they gain in this middle sector. We can see the likes of Lenny looking to get a move on, but can't find a move ahead of Lillian. That gap, 3.9 seconds. It's coming down by, what, this could be going to be about 5-6 cents a lap. This is going to go right to the last lap here, I think.
Yep, and you can see a bit further back as well, you've got a bit of a heated challenge, a heated exchange coming from the likes of Lundkrosen and Sabrino. They're all looking to jostle in the same way that the leaders are. They're fighting for the same breathing room, the same space. They just want to get a bit of a getaway. Big winners and big losers tonight. Obviously, Daniel Kjeldsen, amazing stuff here. He's gone up 8 positions. And then, of course, you have Tycho Hardy going all the way down. Things not going his way. He had a pretty bad string of luck. And the strategy, 17 laps on the softs, that completely cooked him there.
Of course, they're in close contact between Lenny and Lillian. Lillian then was forced to make a move, or try and make a move ahead of Julian Klavenbach into turn 4. They go. No moves being made. Lenny sends it to the inside, though, of Lillian. Nearly taps the back of the Haas. Lillian's got the better outside lines. They head down towards turn number 6. Can Lenny keep the move ahead of the AlphaTauri? Yes, he can. Lenny Papinter into turn 6 takes. P5, I'm getting confused here with Lenny's, Lillian's, Julian's. You can't keep up with who's who because they're constantly making moves and making positions ahead of each other. Now, Mirko, within 3.1 seconds, is gained in another second on this lap alone. He can already probably see the car's down to turn 3 once he heads out of turn 1.
Yeah, the pace difference is strong, but is it going to be strong enough for 3 seconds plus positional changes? That's the question you've got to really ask. And with 4 laps to go, 4 complete laps at least, as we started that lap 32 here, I don't think he's going to be able to meaningfully catch. All eyes, though, on this top 3 now. Kjeldsen continuing that string of momentum and keeping it tight to the back of Linton. Linton himself is trying to see what he can do against Nordyke, but it's just not materializing for him. You can see that he's gone for the inside. He's gone to try and close that gap. And Nordyke, be that battery management or just good pace and positioning, he's been able to keep that Alpine at bay for quite a while.
Yeah, I reckon these guys in the top 6 were fighting too hard a few laps earlier, and that is why Mirko is so close. Maybe he would have been a couple of seconds back before, which it might be a couple of seconds that they need, because Mirko's within 2.4 seconds. He's gained yet again another 6/10 on this lap alone here on the back of that top 6 train. Louis Welch gets a 3-second time penalty to add to his penalties at the moment, as Keane Godendorp there making a move ahead of Camel. Thatcher been a poor race, of course, for Keane down in P16. Not normally where we expect to see the Williams here at this point in a Grand Prix. We can see, though, back down to turn 1 they go. Klavenbach on the back of Kjeldsen, who's looking to try and take a podium here tonight in PSGL PCF2. They head down to turn 3. And the DRS is open once again. Reese looking to attack on the back of Joost Noordijk. Daniel looking to attack here on the back of Reese. And we could see moves being made just to defend positions here. We can see them all looking to fight moves. Daniel has to defend here from Julian. Julian goes to the outside there of the Aston Martin. Runs a bit wide. That allows Lenny to get a decent run down towards turn number 4. Can Lenny look and try and get himself into P4? He's going to try and push if he can. He's going to push in. Can he get the move? It's going to be close, but no. No, he goes to the outside of Lenny. Brilliant move from Papinter. Can he keep it on the exit? It's going to be close to contact, and I think Lenny might just about have it here.
He's going to have to keep his nose clean because you can see he has got the inside line heading down the hill. He's managed to make it work, though, even with a little bit of a brush onto the gravel. They both fighting hard, and Papinter is going to have this. Amazing stuff there. I did not think the send would work, to be honest with you, but it's clear that he has the car control, he has the pace, and the wherewithal to take it here. The track has significantly brightened up as well to boot. Track temperatures have risen quite a amount, and if there's anyone having struggled to get the heat into their tyres, that is all but gone. So now the question is, can they manage the tyre grip and potential overheating? We've got the opposite problem here. We've got just a few laps to go, but let's see how they balance things out. Linton now, he's going to be getting real close to the back of Nordyke here due to turn 3. I think he's going to be gearing up for a move here. Just needs to nail the exit. Full battery. He's suspiciously high on the battery. He hasn't really been using it all that much. I wonder if he's wasting a bit of charge.
I think he's not using it at all, so he can, when he gets that followed up, he can just push, get a move ahead of Yost, and obviously Yost then might have DRS down towards turn 4, he can burn again, and keep himself ahead of the Haas, so this is looking to be good here for Reese Linton in this race, looking to take 2 victories here this season in only 4 rounds, so it's looking perfect at the moment for the Alpine. But Mirko, is he going to get DRS? It's 1.1 seconds, it's going to be 1.0, is he within a second here? He's going to have to push a bit of battery to get himself within a second, it's going to be close, oh, it's just back to 1.1 into the final corner. I don't think it's enough in towards this corner. It might be actually for Mirko. Does he have DRS on the exit of the corner? Down towards turn 1. He does. Mirko has got himself within the DRS, but is it too late here for the DRS to be activated here for the Ferrari?
I think it might be too little too late. He's right on the back of that queue now. He's back in this fight, but it's not going to be unless he can pull out some Herculean pace. I don't know how many positions he's going to be able to make up. I'm very curious to see what he does. A little bit of a snap and a wiggle there from a couple of drivers at this top end. They're getting antsy. They're getting impatient. They want these moves done now because they know that they're running out of time.
It looked like a bit of a standstill there at turn 3 for one moment. They're all trying to stop and not hit the back of each other. Just all trying to keep DRS and not get that disadvantage. But now Mirko within 6/5 of a second. He could be looking to make a last lap charge here in this race. He's just behind the back of Lillian. Look how much pace he's got on those mediums. He's got way much more grip than those on the 25 lap holes hard tires. You can see Lillian scurrying all over the road. Mirko's going to try and make a send to the outside at turn 9. Can he get the move ahead of the AlphaTauri? Lillian's on the inside line. And Mirko, can he get it done? He can. Mirko Soriano into P6, who was dating him earlier. But now, he could be looking to make a masterclass of a strategy. As Daniel Koya also looking to make a move ahead here of Lillian Debecourt.
This is going to be an absolute charge here for that Ferrari. He just needs to keep the nose clean and he needs to absolutely nail this lap. So much of his strategy rides on these final moments. He may have had, let's say, a couple of incidents, or let's say close to a couple of incidents here, but you can see down into turn 3, that's going to be another car. That's going to be Klaffenbach. Is he going to be able to get the exit though? Looked a little bit shaky, a little bit deep. He has got the DRS, but so is Klaffenbach. He's pumping everything into it, but you can see the battery on that Haas is cooked. Next corner, he has going to confirm the move, as Koya is going to be staging an attack of his own. Slide from Klaffenbach is going to see him down there. Soriano has made good time. Look at Linton. Linton is just as close. He's got a little bit of battery to himself. He could take it into turn 9.
It's not going to be close enough, though, because you can see he had a bit of a snap coming through out to turn number 8. Can he try and make a last move to the inside? Goes Reese Linton. Can he fight for the lead?
It's contact!
Jost Nordijk round. Jost Nordijk round in the final couple of corners, and Daniel Kelson will round in the final corner to take victory here in Austria. And I could not believe what we just saw. Reese Linton contact on the final lap, and Jost Nordijk down to P13. What a shame for the Haas driver, but it will be a double podium here for the race coach team, and Mirko could be promoted here up to P3 because that will be a slam dunk penalty for the Alpine there.
What just happened? What can you even say to that? Say Yeltsin, he was there in P3, but he got handed it on a silver platter, basically.
Yeah, and I can't help but feel so sorry for Jost on that. He was, he was looking for the win, and bit of a late send there from Reese, a little bit too late, and well, big shame of course for Reese indeed. And well, Mirko in P4 could be looking to take P3, and we can see the Aston Martin take advantage of that incident there. He will take victory here in Austria ahead of Reese and ahead of Lenny Pipinter, a double Alpine podium here tonight. Mirko Soriano will get himself back into P4. Daniel into P5, Jerry Van Bussel in P6. That strategy there worked well for Daniel and Jerry to go into the softs. Then it will be Julian Klaffenbach from pole. Sits down in P7 ahead of Lillian Debecourt, Shimon Komsky and Sergio Sobrino. Then we have Joris Kroos in P11, Liam Stevens in 12th, Leo Lund 13th, Lou Welch in 14th, Tiger Hardy in P15, Kamal Satcher in P16, Keenan Gordon up in 17th, and then the Jost Nordijk would have been in around P13, but he obviously DNF'd at the end, and Nico Benz obviously didn't finish the race. So, a dramatic ending here in Austria, and Connor, I saw in the chat, he spoke a little bit too soon. He said it was surprisingly clean before the contact happened, so it looks like a bit of a curse there from Connor, and a big shame, of course, for the race of Jost Nordijk, who is looking to take victory here for the Haas team. So we'll see what happens as the race ends, and we'll see what happens with the stewards afterwards. But that, Sappy, was a brilliant race.
And I'm going to do myself a favour, and I'm not going to look at driver chat in the aftermath for that one, because I feel like tensions are going to be very high. I really feel bad for Jost there. It was on such a good run. Unfortunately, push came to shove in the literal sense. It's just a little bit too close, and that is where, unfortunately, the competitive spirit does rear a bit of an uglier side, because you do see tensions get high. You see drivers go for absolutely everything sometimes, and it's just when you fighting that hard and this much is at stake, you're at this top tier, you do go for the moves. A lot rides on this stuff, so I'm not surprised at the drivers fighting this hard, but at the same time you have to almost consider how much is that move worth, because that could have been a safe P2 or a safe P3, but it just didn't happen.
Yep, of course, and well, it happens, doesn't it? I suppose instances like that sometimes, especially around a circuit like, the Red Bull Ring. It's a very mean circuit when it wants to be, and that they're definitely showing how mean that this track could be. But it was a brilliant fight to the end, and Joost had it all the way through. Reese couldn't find a move into turn 3. He couldn't find a move, of course, down to turn 4 because of the battery that Joost was able to use, and also the straight line speed he had. So obviously in the end it was obviously Joost who got spun round. We'll see if we can have a chat from our top 3. Obviously that being Daniel, Reese and Lenny. We'll see if they pop in for a quick interview. If not, we'll end it off. But if they pop in here, it would be nice to have a quick chat. And Daniel, normally always there for an interview when he gets to podium, so we'll see what he does. But then again, today it was quite an eventful one, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think eventful is honestly an understatement. We saw such a variation in strategy. We saw such a variation in drivers in terms of some of the racing, like the battling at the front of the grid. Now, don't get me wrong, I may have just sort of gone on a bit of a tangent about how drivers could be too aggressive, but the battle at the top of the grid for the past like 5 or 6 laps before that point, masterclass. Everyone was challenging each other on a mental level, on a mechanical level, and on a, we'll say, quality standard of racing. That's the kind of stuff we want to see. Drivers pushing each other to the absolute limit, and they did an amazing job in pushing each other to said limit. I am very curious to see if we are going to get anyone for an interview, because tensions are running very high. But saying that, we have the one and only Mr. P1. It's Daniel Hjelsen. Can you hear us, my friend?
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you now. Well, welcome to the commentary box, and welcome to the top step of the podium. How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm feeling, of course, very good to get a win here. I think it's been a while because I've I've been in F2 quite a while and just had many P2s, had at least podiums. I've even finished P1, but then got a penalty after the race. So I hope this will win stick. There was, of course, a lot of battling. Yeah, we'll of course see, because I can imagine like people will report a lot of things going on in this race. So I just hope to be able to keep the win. But yeah, it began stressful because I got like big problems with my wheel, like when I was loading into the race lobby in qualifying. So basically my wheel didn't allow me to choose custom settings, only the like default ones in the game, which is just completely wrong. Like my throttle and brake weren't set to the pedals. I think they were set to something on the keyboard instead. So I was so stressed at that time. Somehow got it fixed by just resetting absolutely everything, taking power out of PC and screen and wheel and everything, and it worked. But it wasn't ideal. Yeah, lapping qualifying wasn't great. And yeah, P11 to P1, of course, feels very good because I think we made it work on track as well, and yeah, well managed race, and of course lucky in the last lap. But yeah, it was also a little bit of strategy into it, of course, not to try and fight, because you can kind of feel it coming if there is gonna happen something, and it did. So lucky, but of course very happy with the result.
Yeah, and a great result it was. Obviously, we had a little bit of an interesting race, obviously starting wet and then going to the dries pretty quickly. What was your kind of approach there? Did you plan the pit strategy as you executed it in the race, or did you have to make some changes on the fly?
Like pit strategy, of course, have to basically just adapt to the weather and just try and time it perfectly. You can't really plan for anything. We went a little bit longer than the others, and yeah, first I wasn't in the leading train, which was annoying, but was able to catch it by switching positions with one of the other drivers, so we made up the gap eventually, and when we were in the leading train, save a battery basically, and yeah, go for it at the end, and yeah, worked out. We had the best tires. Also, I think we just had the same age, but we had better tires than Reese and better tires than the others in the leading train. Towards the end, of course, with the exception of the guys doing two-stop or yeah, who are on mediums, but they didn't catch up either. So yeah, it worked out perfect.
And there you go. Well, I mean, whichever way you slice it, P11 to P1, as you say, amazing result. I mean, like, what? Obviously, we can't talk to them because I don't think they're going to be in any mood to come out for the interviews. But what was your, I guess, initial reaction when you're in P3 and then round turn 9, all of a sudden you're leading the race?
Of course, I could see it coming because I knew that Reese was on 100% battery going into the last lap, which I would guess was more than Jost. So even after like turn 1 where Reese had a moment and wasn't able to close in, I was sensing that he had more ERS and would try and do something down to the little straight down to turn 9. So that was kind of what I was hoping for, of course, gonna happen. And when I see them going side by side, going defensive all the way to the right, and yeah, you just this is not ending well. And then you see one of the cars spinning out and the other one going slowly and sneak up the inside. Of course, you need reaction times, or no reactions. Sorry, of course, to avoid crashing in them, and it was fine margins as well. But yeah, of course, you just need to try and avoid being caught up, and then when you get through, you know you're in the lead with 1 corner to go. Yeah, of course, you just yeah.
You roll with the scenario. You roll with the punches.
Yeah, yeah. You realize what happened, and then yeah, but still, it feels of course unreal to take the lead into the last corner, and especially at this track where, like, you can never go for an overtake in the last corner, but you can when these things happen, of course. So yeah.
Yeah, and to say you executed that. I say you made use of the scenario around you, and you got yourself a P1. So while I say like in a sort of different circumstance that maybe would have expected, I'd say it's an amazing result. And as far as sort of coming out as reserve to fill in that Aston seat, I'd say you've done a mighty fine job. Anything from you, Nathan, there?
I was going to say, Daniel, it's obviously nice to see you back on the top step. On the top step, obviously over in WOR. It was, it was quite an appearance for you, wasn't it, in Tier 2? Obviously coming over here now to PSGL, PCF2. I'd say it's probably a bit more of a stronger grid, isn't it, over here? So it's a little bit harder to try and fight for those victories all the time. But I think you did a very good job. Do you think we'll see you back at the top step again this season?
Of course, I hope so. Of course, I'm reserve as well, so we'll see how many races I get to do. But I'm going for the win in those races I'm participating in, absolutely. So I'd say yes, but of course, you can never say anything for granted. But winning again is definitely my goal. So yeah.
And hopefully it's not the top 2 getting taken out at the final corner is the reason why. Because I suppose it does make it feel a bit less in the sense of you just ended up passing them both, and yeah, there's a bit of a takeout at the end. But anyway, Daniel, mate, well done on the victory. We'll probably see you again next time sometime. So have a good one.
And there we go. So that was Daniel Gjelten, winner of the Austria round, and where we look forward from this point, because I don't think we're going to see P2 and P3 interviewing, it is going to be looking forward, and we look forward to Canada. In Canada, I think it's been a long time since we've seen it last, and one of my top tracks personally. Of course, you've got some iconic parts of the track, something Wall of Champions, but I've always loved this track. I think it's an underrated pick, and it's good to see it on the season calendar. What do you make of it, Nathan?
I think it's a brilliant circuit. I think it's also quite underrated. I think the only issue people have is the fact that with these big Formula 1 cars, you can't really make moves. I think in the older cars, where they're a bit smaller, I think this track is beautiful because you can make moves pretty much everywhere. if you can get yourself into the position to do so. So I can't wait for the Canadian Grand Prix. I think it'll be brilliant. And obviously, it has been quite a while since we've been here with PSGL. Obviously, we was here last season with the E-Series, but it's a little bit different to the main series. So, honestly, I'm thinking maybe 3 or 4 seasons ago was the last time I was here in the normal campaign. So it's going to be exciting to see what the drivers get up to around the Canadian circuit. And, well, if Austria was something to go by, yet again, it's chaos. We've had 4 different winners in 4 different races. I think we've also had now, with Reese on the podium, Lenny's on the podium for the first time, I believe. So I think that might be 9 podium sitters in 4 races, which is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, the cards are still out. The jury's still out on who we can crown our season champion. Of course, you want to keep it here. You want to keep your eyes on season 36 here at PSGL PCF2. That's going to be, for now, myself and Nathan signing off. Of course, be sure to support the people who support us. Give us a shout to GT Omega. Use code PSGL for a healthy discount. Also, check out Sim Racing Centre with code PSGL for a discount on any of their services, be that coaching, setups, you name it, they got it. And with that being said, we will see you same time next week. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy what we do, and we will see you in Canada, folks. Take care and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Desperately trying to hang on. He's got the inside. Overtaking is through on the left-hand side. Hooks the apex, gets on the power nicely, and that is job done. Jarno Opmeer now to the last couple of corners now. His finest drive, his greatest drive, and he's done it at the Circuit of the Americas. He returns to the top step of the podium. Once again, the GOAT is back. Jarno Opmeer wins the US Grand Prix in a stunning Grand Prix.